Hi, this is Dr. Jim McGinnis. I want to share with you a short message. You know, it took us a while to get settled. You can't see it right now, but my apple is right here in our backyard, and we're getting our front yard here, and we're excited about what God's going to do in Davao and in the Philippines. But I have a word in my heart for you. Let's go back to 6 months before Jesus died on the cross. In Jerusalem, there was what was called the Feast of Tabernacles. And during this Feast of Tabernacles, they had something called the water drawing. They would go down to the Pool of Siloam, which incidentally, for the first time in 2,000 years, is open to the public just a few weeks ago. And they go down there, and what would happen is they would go down with pictures like this, and they'd come back singing from Isaiah with joy that we draw water from the wells of salvation. They get to the temple, and they would pour out the water. And it was a joyous time. It was one of the most happy times in the Jewish year. In fact, I have a quote here. It's been said from that time, "He that has never seen the joy of water drawing has never seen in his life joy." People were rejoicing. They were happy. And then on the last day of the festival, there is something called the Great Hosanna. And the priests will go back to the pool, but they would not draw water. They would come back empty. Now the last day, if it's the 8th day, some say it was the 7th, but on the 8th day was a solemn day. And if they did this on that 8th day, it was solemn because they were commemorating when God gave them water in the wilderness, when Moses struck the rock. And here, they come back the 7th day or the 8th day, depending on who you read, and they would come back with empty. They'd come back and there was nothing there. And as they did that, of course, you can imagine, before it was joyful, and all of a sudden, there's no water. And at that very instant that they were trying, no water is there, Jesus stood up. It says here, let me read it. Then on the most important day of the feast, the most important day of the feast is that what I just told you. Jesus stood and shouted. Now that's very important because teachers never stood. They sat when they taught, and they definitely never stood. And Jesus, when everyone there is looking and the priest, there's no water, he stood and he just didn't talk mild. He shouted, says, all you thirsty ones, come to me and drink. Believe in me so that rivers of living water will burst from within you, flowing from your innermost being, just like the scripture says. Wow, what a moment that Jesus would do that right then. He cried out. You know, there was a famous movie based on truth called The Lawrence of Arabia. And one of the funniest parts in the movie, and in real life happened, that after the war, Lawrence brought some of his Arab friends to Paris, and they were staying in a hotel, and they turned the faucets on, and water comes out, and they were so intrigued. We get water. So Lawrence comes back in the hotel room, and they're sitting there pulling, trying to take out the faucet. He said, "What are you doing?" "Oh, we take faucet back to desert. We have water all the time." And he tried to explain, no, the water only comes because there's